to answer your question, how I got to Oklahoma State. There may be a Cowboy fan or two in here, right? I mean, okay, all right. It's funny because, you know, I grew up in a household where my dad,
right,
he was a big fan of that other school in the state. You know, the other school.
I won't even say the other name.
Yeah,
I won't say it.
The other school.
I won't go there.
Norman. You know,
okay, got it.
Norman. I wasn't heavily recruited, and so for me, you know, there were three schools that I was considering: Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and actually, believe it or not, the University of Tulsa.
Really? Did you guys know that?
Tulsa.
I didn't know that. We're all kidding.
Yeah, those are the three places where I took recruiting trips, and my dad really wanted me to come to Tulsa. He really wanted me to come to Tulsa because I guess the coach who was recruiting me there really did a good job of selling my dad, and which is, you know, and this is why. At that time, Tulsa had a good program, but the basic selling point was he'll come here and play immediately. Oklahoma State, they had, I don't know, 8-10 running backs on the roster, and so my dad was like, I don't know if that's a great idea. In my mind, I was thinking, I'm just glad I got a scholarship anywhere.
Why didn't you play football longer?
Why didn't I play football longer?
I told you that.
He's not what the media is.
The kids ask the best questions. I told you. There's no guile. They go for it.
That's a good question. It's hard to explain sometimes, but I realized at the end of my career of playing in the NFL that really the drive and the desire to continue to play at that level wasn't there anymore, and that it was time for me to retire. It was a tough decision because, you know, I had played all my life. And up to that point, I really loved playing, but I realized that, and even though I still loved the game, that I didn't love playing enough to continue to play.
Are you worried about your son breaking your single-season rushing record at OSU?
Wow.
What I would say to that is, go ahead, son, knock yourself out. That'd be great if he was able to do that. You know, and more power to him. Are you predicting that that's what he'll do, or what?
Who did you follow when you was a kid?
Who did I follow when I was a kid? Well, like I said before, I love watching the game, and you know, I loved guys like Marcus Allen. Marcus played at Southern California, USC. He won the Heisman there. There were even guys before Marcus Allen at USC. A guy named Charles White, Anthony Davis, even O.J. Simpson. I mean, I love watching. Probably one of my all-time favorites was a guy named Tony Dorsett. You know, loved watching Tony when I was a kid. When I first started watching him, he was at the University of Pittsburgh, another Heisman Trophy winner, Hall of Famer. Really, the list goes on and on. I mean, all the way up until I was in the NFL. I just, you know, the first guy I remember watching, and you wouldn't know this name, but it was a guy named Terry Metcalf.
Oh, sure.
Played for the team that was called the St. Louis Cardinals at that time. A small guy, acrobatic. He would do spins. He would do jumps, leaps. And it was just exciting to watch. And guys like that, Earl Campbell, loved watching Earl growing up. I mean, you know, and so I took in so much NFL football as a youngster. That's just where my mind was, you know, and always on the running backs. You know, but my all-time favorite would probably be Tony Dorsett if I had to pick one. Don't forget about Walter Payton. I love watching Walter. Just the way he ran with heart and determination. wasn't a very big guy, but just as tough as nails. So I could go on and on and talk about running backs, but those are some of the guys that I like to watch.
Great list.
Okay. Do you think that the discipline from now and then, I mean sportsmanship from now and then changed? How much do you think it changed?
Good question.
Do I think that the discipline in sportsmanship has changed between now and back then? I would say so, and to some degree, I would say so. I think that it's probably more so the case now where people bring individual attention to themselves, and there's more taunting. I still think there are guys that do show good sportsmanship, but it is more in your face, and you see guys bring attention to themselves and probably not displaying good sportsmanship.
How many Pro Bowls did you make, and did you ever get an MVP?
How many Pro Bowls did I make, and did I ever get an MVP?
You were NFL Player of the Year.
Right.
Yeah.
I made 10 Pro Bowls,
Amazing.
which was a treat. That was always fun to go over to Hawaii.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I made.
Amazing accomplishment.
That was great. Made 10 Pro Bowls, and then I believe I have one MVP. I believe 1997.
Right.
I was the MVP. That was the year I ran for 2,000
yards. Yep.
How did you get so talented?
That's a good question. How did I get so talented? Well, I can say this, along with a lot of the other things that I mentioned, just about, loving the game and learning how to work. I think probably, from your age, I was dreaming about football, and the game was just alive in my imagination. And so I think that fueled and motivated me as I got older to just play hard. Some years, I think about it, when I was a freshman, I was on a team and didn't see the field much at all, and we had a very good team, some very good players. But I always remember that year because I'm going into high school, and you would think that you start figuring out who the real ball players are. But I remember that year, but I still just loved being on the team, and it wasn't a case where I didn't want to play. But anyway, to answer your question, it's something that was that I think I was born with. I was born a good athlete. I think I cherish that and try to make the most of it, and always try to get better.